Whoop whoop. We are your host, the one and only, your best friend, your next door neighbor, Natasha Cash.
And I'm T Dub in the building. What?
There we are.
All
All
right.
right. So listen, we are super excited to be talking on the show today. We have a lot to talk about because we have some family members that we need to be making sure we are taking care of, like our parents, our grandparents, our teenagers. A lot of people out there scamming people. It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
It is absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, they're starting to make it sound so good. Like we were just talking a couple of weeks ago about the fact that they are using AI to sound like your family members, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your children, your mother, your father, your grandparents, to make you think that it's really them.
Yeah, I thought about that. So be careful when you get those calls and you don't hear anybody and you be like, hello, hello,
Right.
hello, hello, hello. Yeah, it may be something that's testing your voice to get your voice so it can call your child and say, I'm on my way to pick you up from school. Be ready.
That part. And then you get outside and your child get in a car that looks similar to your car, and then next thing you know, your child is missing.
Because you said, be ready.
What? So listen, this is my quote for the week. Remember, there's no such thing as a small act of kindness. Every act creates a ripple with no logical end. So the more acts of kindness that you give out, the more acts of kindness that will ricochet right back to you. So be kind to people, treat people right, so that karma does not come back to bite you in the behind, and you are wondering, what the heck did I do? What's going on? Why is this happening to me? Well, think back on those things that you did, those ways that you treated people, those conversations that you had that didn't go so well, and you were the mean person, and you
Mm-hmm.
wonder why things will come back to you. So it's like cool to be cool.
Yeah, it's easy to be cool.
It really is easy to be cool. So listen, today we are talking about scammers. We are talking about scams that we want you to be aware of. Do not fall for their traps. Do not fall for the okey doke. Listen, it's important that we take care of the elderly. We make sure, it's important that we take care of our young teens because they're getting scammed. These get rich quick schemes become, more attractive,
Mm-hmm.
and they become more easy for people to
Mm-hmm.
fall into, and feel like, oh wow, this is great, I could do this and change my life, and I could do this and make some money. Well, if it was that easy to do, then there would be a whole bunch of people out there doing it. So we want you to be aware, be educated, stay woke, people, because people are hacking Facebook pages. They are hacking cell phones. They are hacking
Bank accounts.
bank accounts. There's even romance scams. Like, we watch this stuff on television, but little do you know that people are actually getting into relationships with people in other countries, and making these women and these men think that they're going to be together, and move to America and be with you forever, and you're going to have the best life, and you're going to be the queen of Zamunda. And no.
Nope. And they've been doing that for a very, very long time. You know why? Because it works, and there's not a lot of people that's shutting them down.
No, there's not, because they're getting more savvy as
Mm-hmm.
as time goes by. And you know what? There's so many platforms and so many different avenues that they are being um, open to,
Mm-hmm.
and using to get people's attention. So, for example, like, I know that I have seen a bunch of stuff on Facebook where people are hacking people's Facebook pages and saying, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
Natasha, how are you? Long time no see. How are the kids?" And they know I live in Florida. They know, they know a lot of stuff. So it's like I have to take my time and pay attention to what they're saying, because they're hacking people's Facebook pages that I'm familiar with, that
Right.
people I know. And then they start using these words like madam, ma'am,
Mm-hmm.
after
Friend.
yes, friend.
Mm-hmm.
After you've gotten to in deep into the conversation, then they suck you in, and then they say, "Have you gotten your check yet?
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about the new money that the government is giving away?" And I'm like, "Nope, blocked, goodbye." So we're having this conversation today, for one, for me, is because my mom called me yesterday and said that her girlfriend sent her a text asking her about, some money, some grant money. Well, let me just say this: grant money does not come through a text message. Grant money does not come through Facebook. The government is not a joke. The government is not a scam artist. So if you are receiving information about a grant, there should be a website, there should be a phone number, there should be an application, there should be some detailed information that you have to complete in order to even start the process of being on the list to potentially getting a grant.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't come by sending a text message or replying to an email. That's number one scam. First of all, the IRS is not going to call you. Social Security Administration is not going to call you. The government is not going to call you. The police department is not going to call you to tell you that there is a warrant for your arrest. They're just going to come get you. They're not going. No one's going to call you and tell you that you have parking tickets, and if you don't pay them, you're going to be arrested. You're going to get documented paperwork in the mail to your address if this information is correct. There will be a government address, there will be an email, there will be a phone number, there will be a person that is assigned to your case that you can call and talk to about your bill, your charges, your warrant, your whatever. So it's important that we pay attention to this stuff because, like I said, people are becoming more and more vulnerable, but these scammers are getting smarter and smarter.
Yeah, and in most cases, when a call comes in and there's a sense of urgency for you to pay or give your credit card information or your social security number or any identifying information that will give you away, when there's a sense of urgency that, oh, we need this right now, or you're not going to get this or that, beware, especially if you can't say, can I call you back or something like that.
Exactly. So yeah, that's what I was telling my mom. I'm like, listen, is there a phone number? Can you call to verify that this information is correct? I said, yes, the government does give out grants, Pell grants, money grants, small business grants. All this money is set aside for, certain things. However, they're not just handing it out to people. You have to meet the qualifications. You have to meet the criteria in order to even be, a potential candidate for any type of money that the government is going to give you. First of all, if you're getting a grant from the government, they want to know the name of your business, if you're a licensed business, how many employees you have, how much money you need for them, what you're going to be using the money for, how you're going to disperse the money, how you're going to be able to prove to them that you deserve this certain amount of money. And at the end of the year, you have to provide a report. If you cannot even set up that beginning information or provide the information about your licensed business, then the government not even going to talk to you.
Yep. Same thing with charities. Somebody call you and they want you to donate to a charity.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's best to just say, you know what, can you just mail that to me? Mail me the forms,
right,
or send me to a website. That way I see it's a secure website. And typically, it's a secure website because there's a lock at the top of the website address.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at it to the left, you'll see a lock there. That lets you know that it is a secure website. It doesn't mean it's legit. It just means it's a secure website.
Yeah.
So any website that does not have a lock and you're about to, put your credit card information into it or your personal information into it, can be a hack site.
And any website that, and beware of any website that says we're rerouting you to a different website.
Yeah, and then you see a web name that's xrq927 dot live dot 6739. And you're like, okay, that doesn't look like a website.
Scam.
Okay, yeah. So look at those links, pay attention to those redirects, and especially pay attention to emails that you get that may have links in them. Sometimes it's best to, like, for instance, if you get a email from Walmart or Walmart, and there's a K on it, but you see the Walmart and it looks like the logo, so you don't really read and see that it's a K on the end. And then there's a link. Hover over the link, and a lot of times you'll see there the actual site that it's going to take you to. And a lot of times, if it's a scam, well, all the time, if it's a scam, that site would not be Walmart.com.
Yes, and you know what? That is so true. Like, I know that a couple of times that I've had to, like, look twice at emails because it'll say Microsoft and no T on the end .com. And you're like, oh, well, Microsoft is a very reputable company. So, let me click on this email and it ends up being a phishing email. And now your email is hacked. So pay attention to that type of stuff too. I think the thing is that most Americans have so much going on, whether it's children, two jobs, juggling relationships, juggling bills, and trying to make ends meet, and going to this event and trying to support this person and that person, that we're moving so fast that that's how we get caught. Yep. Because we're not paying attention. We see something and we read it for what we think it should say instead of for what it really says. I know that last week or so I've been caught like that, even just in our conversations, where I think my husband is saying one thing, and so I go and do whatever I think he's saying, and then he looks at me and he just starts laughing. I'm like, what? What's funny? And he's like, well, I said this and you did this, and I'm like, oh, I thought you said such and such. He's like, no, I said XYZ. And I'm like, oh, crap, because I have a million things going on in my head. And I'm, like I said, moving off of what I think he said instead of what he really said.
Yep. And a lot of times that's because we're always in sync. And it's like you're always, on the same page I am. So it's like, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll throw that little angle in there that kind of flips the word.
Yeah.
And then you'll say yes. And I'm like, but you would never do that. And you're like, wait, what did you say?
Exactly. Because like I said, it's like so many things you're thinking about. You're trying to, and it's crazy because you try to split your brain into like 8 different compartments, and you're trying to, think about what you have to do because tomorrow's Monday and you got to go to work, and you try to think about what you're going to eat for dinner tonight, and you try to think about, who you need to call, and you think about, what bills you need to pay, and you think about, who you need to help, and then you got to spend time with your husband. It's like, okay, my brain can't split into 8 compartments, and now I realize why. It's because I'm, processing stuff that's not even there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how scammers get us too.
Yep,
That's how they do it. So listen, don't be afraid to ask the questions. Who can I call to verify? Where is the proof? What is the website? What are the stats on the turnaround? Who else have you helped? What reputable companies can I associate with what you are doing? So don't be afraid to ask the question.
Yep. Are you insured?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because a lot of times people get scammed, and a lot of elderly get scammed by handymen that are not licensed to do anything. So these handymen are knocking on the door knowing that you're, 80 years old with probably a nest egg of a, couple $100,000 just sitting there. And they're like, man, if I can get some of that. They don't care. All they want to do is get your quick money and run. So they'll tell you, hey, I'll clean your roof and do your gutters and all this kind of stuff. And, if you just give me a down payment of, $5,000, and then the other, half when I finish, then we'll be great. Knowing that the job only really is a $600 job. And they'll take that down payment of $5,000 and never show up again. And you're like, okay, well, I just gave him $5,000.
And the other thing is, as you get older, like we've heard a couple of our family members say that are, I'd say in their 70s and 80s, not that that's old, but they're older, to say that, I'm tired. I don't want to fight. It's like, I know it's wrong. I know they did me wrong. I know that I should be calling to get my money back. I know I should be saying something to somebody, but I'm just tired. I don't want to sit on hold. I don't want to go back and forth. I don't want to prove that I'm right. I don't want to have to provide evidence. I don't want to show, my date of purchase and a receipt and email and then call the warranty company and all this stuff. And so that's how a lot of these companies become rich as well, because they prey on the elderly. They know that they're going to be too tired to call and fight. And all they got to do is say 1 or 2 times, no, sir, that's not right. No, ma'am, we can't help you. And then you just give up. And now you're out of
a ton of money.
A ton of money.
And time.
So I know for me, I always make fun of my mom, because back in the day when my mom was young, she was feisty. Like if you owed her a penny, you gonna give her a penny. And so now I'm like that. And I'm like, right is right and wrong is wrong. I'm all for, good customer service. And so now that she's getting a little older, she's like, listen, I ain't got time. I ain't got time to fight. I ain't got time to argue. I ain't got time. And it's like, no, You know, people, that's how people get rich, and they build their companies off of people like you, because they know that you're not going to call and complain, and they're going to stack their bank account, and you're going to be struggling. They're going to stack their bank account because people like you don't want to fight for what's right.
So moral of the scenario is slow down, listen to what people are saying, and ask their questions.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times, if a person is scamming you, they're not either going to have consistent answers,
Mhm.
or the answers are going to seem kind of odd, or they won't have any paperwork or documentation to back up who they really are.
Absolutely. And if you're, paying attention to what they're saying, they're going to say things that are not ethically correct. They're going to they're going to stutter or stumble when they're answering questions, because they're not ready for people that are going to sit on the phone and give them a run for their money. They expect people to sit on the phone that are going to, fall for the okey doke. So just ask the questions, who can I call to verify? Where is the proof? What's the website? Is there a phone number I can get someone on the line? And if it doesn't say GOV on the end of a website, a URL, then it is not government.
Yep, yep, yep. And educational is edu.
Yep.
You know,
Military,
so,
MIL.
yeah.
Don't fall for it. Listen, if there is a warrant out for your arrest, do you think the police is going to call you and say, "Hey, we're looking for you. Just want you to know that we're out looking for you. There's a warrant for your arrest." And what is that going to give you opportunity to run,
Mhm.
to hide, to figure out how you can avoid going to
Mhm.
jail? No, then they're not doing their job. So if somebody call you and tell you you need to pay $5,000, you need to pay $2,500, or we're going to come and arrest you, tell them, come on.
Mhm.
Because that is not how it works. That is a scam. Just like with the IRS. The IRS is not going to call and tell you, you haven't filed your taxes. If you'd like for us to file them for you, press 1 and we'll charge you $399 and file your taxes for you. That is a scam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anything that's asking you for money, right away, just be wary of, especially if you're not familiar with the organization or the person on the other end.
Absolutely. So we want you to know that financial scams are not the only scam. So a lot of people get confused and think that people are just out for, your bank account money, right? So there are romantic scams. We talked about that, how people will make you think that they're in love with you and all this stuff, and make you think that you're going to be together, only to get you to, sign papers and documents to marry them so they can get their green card and come to the United States and get their citizenship. Then when they get everything that they need, then they want a divorce.
Mm-hmm. Bye bye.
Right.
Or they just disappear
Or they
and
disappear.
go back to their country.
Exactly. Leave you high and dry after you done gave all your money, all your love, all your time, all your talents, all your efforts, all your intentions. And all along, their intentions have been negative.
Yeah.
So be aware of people like that. There's also adoption fraud. There's so many wonderful women out there that unfortunately are not able to conceive a child, that are willing to go through hell and high water to have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times women get sucked in to these systems that are saying, do this and we'll have a child for you. Or if you sign up for this, class and pay this amount, then when the class is over, then we'll put you on the list and you'll get the next baby. It doesn't work like that. Adoption fraud. Unethical adoption service providers can take advantage of an emotionally charged process to deceive and defraud prospective adoptive parents or birth parents considering adoption. So learn what to look out for, how to protect yourself and your family, and what to do if you are a victim. Listen, if that adoption agency can't sit through all of your questions and all of your concerns, then they don't have the patience.
Mm-hmm.
Then they don't want your time. They don't want your attention. They don't want your money. They don't want your services. They don't want your patronism, right? So I say, before you jump into anything, do your research, do your due diligence, go online, Google it, search it. You can ask Alexa, you can ask Siri. They have all the answers.
Yeah, Scam Alert. There's a lot of Scam Advisor, Reddit. There's a lot of sites that you can go to. You can just go to Google and say, is blah 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 a scam? And
Right.
a lot of times some type of result will come up. And there's some sites that'll even give you a rating of businesses that are in
Yes.
business. You can even look at the Business Bureau and see if a site is a reputable site or
Absolutely.
company.
Yes. So we'll give you a few more. So there's business and investment fraud. Scammers are always looking to separate you from your money and business transactions. So if it sounds too good to be true, 9 times out of 10, it is. Business email compromise. Business email compromise is one of the most financially damaging online crimes. It exploits the fact that so many of us rely on email to conduct business, both personal and business emails. So please be aware of what's going on. You want to read about consumer fraud
Yeah,
schemes?
so consumer fraud schemes. Learn more about common scams that target customers from our partners at the Federal Trade Commission.
Yes,
So,
there's so many, government agencies out there where you can get this information. Federal Trade Commission does not play.
no, no, and they know who you are.
And they know who you are. The U.S. Treasury Department does not play,
Hmm.
right? So the Consumer Fraud Division of any state, of any county, of any city has a website where you can gain information so that you can see if what you're getting into is legit or whether you should be questioning that person, that company, that business that is trying to bring you on as a client.
Hmm.
What about elderly fraud?
Yeah, we talked about elderly fraud,
Hmm.
where there's so many elderly Americans that fall victim of some type of financial fraud,
Hmm.
and a lot of times it's the person that's not licensed to do what they're asking to do for you, like the
Yeah.
local handyman or something
Hmm.
that probably got out of jail, really can't get a job. So what he does is go around and try to figure out what odd end jobs that this person can do. But
Right.
because they're not qualified, they don't know how to estimate. So they may bid on a job and say, hey, this is going to cost you X amount of dollars. Then find out that they're way far too deep into what they plan on doing.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they leave the job and leave you waiting for them to come back. And it's just too many
Yeah.
scams, especially and even sweepstake scams. Those have been around for a
Years.
very long time.
And they are
Yeah,
billionaires.
and it's so easy to just get sucked into that because
Yes.
people know that everyone wants to get rich quick. They want that big money right
Yes.
away. They want to do that one thing at that one time, and it sets them up for the rest of their lives. And that's how scammers get you.
Yes. There's all kinds of scams. So election crimes and security. Listen, we know all about election crimes. Fair elections are the foundation of our democracy, and the FBI is committed to protecting the rights of all Americans to vote. If you suspect a federal election crime, you can contact the FBI.
Hmm.
So you don't have to be, a federal agent. You don't have to be high up on the chain of command and all that stuff. If you witness a crime, the FBI will investigate. If you have proof, if you have evidence, if you have documentation, the FBI will investigate. It's a part of our democracy, making sure that we as a people who vote are done the right way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's important.
So be aware of ransomware.
Yes.
I've seen, being in the IT field for so many years, I've seen ransomware attacks in many different forms, but the most common is when someone sends you an email and say they have your information or else, basically they're going to release your information to a whole bunch of people, or they have pictures of you on porn sites or something, and you haven't been on porn sites, but in your mind, you're like, okay, how do you have pictures of me on porn sites? And they're going to release it to your friends and family.
Right.
That's a classic. That's been around for a very long time. So don't
Yeah.
fall for that, because a lot of times it'll say it has, something on you. And if you don't give me $5,000 or pay me in Bitcoin, that's a key right there.
Mhm.
A lot of times they try to get you on untraceable stuff like
Yes.
Bitcoin and Western Union.
Yes.
So watch out for that when somebody says, "Oh, pay me in Bitcoin or
Mhm.
else." Yeah, those are scams. And a lot of
Yeah.
times, ransomware is real. Okay, it
Ransomware,
is
yes.
real.
Yes.
I've dealt with it, and people hack into your system. So just let's flip. Let's go back a little bit on the ransomware thing. You don't have to worry about ransomware as much if you keep your computers backed up.
Yes.
All right, so your last backup is basically your computer is as good as your last backup.
Yes.
All right, so back your systems up. That way, if anything ever happens, then you can just laugh at them and be like, whatever. You know what? I have a backup. If you trash my computer, if you rename all my photos, you know what? I have everything. I have everything backed up. We use G Drive for a lot of our stuff, our important stuff. We just copy it to the cloud because typically, if someone hacks the actual computer, something like G Drive, they back up every night, so you can get your last backup and recover from the previous day with no problem. But back your stuff up. Don't keep very, very important stuff on your computer, because if it gets hacked and everything is on your computer and you don't have anything else, then you're going to be sitting there saying, oh man, should I pay these people? And the minute you pay them $5,000, they're going to come back and say, well, we need 2,000 more. So be careful.
So let's talk about, we have about 3 more and then we're done. A huge one, sextortion. Sextortion, what kids and caregivers need to know. Sextortion is a crime that involves adults coercing kids and teens into sending explicit, images online. The FBI has several resources to help caregivers and young people better understand what sextortion is, how to protect against it, and how to talk about this growing and devastating threat. Oh my goodness. I don't know how many times I've watched a movie or seen it on YouTube or read it on news.com or seen it on CNN or heard it all around the world or whatever, that a child has gone missing because they were set up thinking that they were going to meet some other young kid, their age, 14, 15-year-old kid, girls, being fast, guys being, young and thirsty and whatever. And they think they're going to meet someone their age, and they end up in a van, end up in a basement of a home, end up, tied up and locked up and whatever, because it's an adult male or an adult woman that has kidnapped them after they've lured them to where they want them to be.
So keep an eye on who your children are communicating with online, because a lot of times these people are professionals. This is what they do for a living, and they know all the little tricks to suck your child in to all kinds of stuff. A lot, half of the children out there now are into gaming and online gaming. And a lot of times they jump into these communities where they play against people, and you never know who you're playing against. This girl named Sally that says she's 14. Maybe a grown man named Bill that's 29 years old, and then next thing you know, they may invite him and say, hey, come to the 7-Eleven on the corner or so and so. We're having a big gaming competition where you can win $500. That sounds kind of tempting, doesn't it?
As a teenager, that sounds very tempting. What teenager doesn't want $500?
Right, especially if you're good at the game. That's the only thing in your mind is, man, I know I can win. And they'll do something and say something like, and there's only like 4 people playing, and they're pretty much amateurs. To try to get you in there. So be careful. Watch who your children are talking to, because you just never know. You never know.
One more, skimmers. Skimming occurs when devices illegally installed on ATMs, point of sale terminals, or fuel pumps capture data or record cardholders' PIN numbers. Oh my goodness. That is a huge one. And I'm sure everybody out there has heard about skimming, whether it's at a gas station or an ATM that's been compromised, or even a company that has been compromised because someone has hacked the system and downloaded all of these credit card numbers and the PIN numbers that go to them. And then you're wondering why you look on your bank statement or your credit card statement and you see something that you purchased in California, and you ain't never been to California. You don't even know the name of the company that's listed that's in California. You live on the East Coast somewhere. That's way on the West Coast. So that's another one that's huge.
Yeah. So what I like to do, 90% of the time I'm going inside and I'm still tapping, so if I don't have to swipe or put in a pin, then, 90% of the time I'm tapping at the cash register inside, because you just never know. And if you do it outside, I would most like to pick a pump that's visual to the cashier, the person that manages the store. Not the one that's on the corner on the side, 1 and 2 and 7 and 8.
If you park on 7 and 8, go inside and pay.
Ain't no telling when somebody's gonna put a device on those that's gonna scam your card.
I know a lot of people out there use Apple Pay. I use Google Pay because I have a Samsung phone. I love Google Pay because you never show your card number. It only shows the front of the card with your name, and you have to use your fingerprint in order to tap your phone on the terminal. So you never show your card. card. You never have to pull out your card. You never have to flip your card over for them to see your credit card digits. And you never have to insert your card. You use your fingerprint, you tap your card, you put your phone away, and you're done. I love it. And then I have mine set up for alerts. So everything that is purchased on my card, no matter which one it is, whether it's a penny or $1 or $100, $1,000, I get an email notification and I already know, okay, then yes, I made that purchase and I'm good. I can turn my phone off. I can turn my card off, and I don't have to worry about calling the bank.
Yeah. So if you're at Chick-fil-A and you get some food and next thing you know, charges start coming up at McDonald's, then you can turn your card off.
Yeah.
So report it right away. Don't wait. Okay.
Yes.
So just be careful. Slow down. I know, this is a fast moving, fast paced life now, and things move at a high speed. Just a way of life. But slow down and protect yourself.
Yeah.
And be smart.
Absolutely. And I want to talk about this last one because I know it's very important and it happens so often. Spoofing and phishing emails. I know we talked about it earlier, but spoofing and phishing are schemes aimed at tricking you into providing sensitive information like your password or bank PIN. I know I get text messages sometimes, not very often, but sometimes I get text messages that say your package could not be delivered.
Mm-hmm.
Please log into your account so that we can verify your address.
Yep.
That's one way they get you. And you think you're logging into Amazon because you ordered something from Amazon. So you get a text that says, hey, enter your information so we can make sure you get your package. And of course, the only thing you're thinking is, I want to make sure I get my package.
Right, because you're waiting on a package.
Exactly. And so you end up logging into this unknown site that's claiming to be something that it's not. And now it's able to hack into your phone, get your credit card information, get your passwords, get your bank information, get your personal and sensitive information. And now you're fighting to save your identity.
Right. And another thing that happens is you go into a site that's not really the site and you keep trying all the passwords that should work. That hacker on the other end knows all the passwords that you possibly have, so you can get into your bank account.
Yes.
So be careful with the usernames and your password combinations. Make sure they're complex enough so they're not easily hacked. And and I would even say change your password often. And if you need to keep it into a vault, something like LastPass or something like that, or even Samsung Pass or something like that. Keep those passwords in there, and you need to look up that complex password because there's no way you're going to remember it.
Yeah.
Keep it in something where you can just refer back to it. Because easy passwords are easy to crack.
I always mess with TW because he always says, I got to remember what password I made. And I'm like, I love my wife because she's the best ever. #.com / round the corner ... boom, boom, boom. And he's like, oh yeah, that's the password. So make it a password that is easy for you to remember, but not something that others can easily think up about you, figure it out, and get into your bank account or your get your sensitive information.
Yeah.
So use those exclamation marks and dollar signs and backslashes, punctuations, all that good stuff. Finagle those numbers in there and something that nobody will know so that you're not hacked. Because trust me, having to cancel all your credit cards to get some new ones, cancel your bank account cards to get some new ones, call the fraud department to tell them that's not you and prove that you didn't do something. That is not fun.
No, not at all.
Not fun. So listen, protect yourself and protect those that you love, your parents as they get older. Make sure that you are paying attention to what they're doing. Your teens, make sure you're paying attention to the gamers that they're talking to, the sites that they're on, these apps, TikTok and Snapchat and Baidu, Bigo, whatever this new thing is, and everything that I have no idea what it is. Pay attention to what they're watching and what they're listening to and what they're clicking on so that they don't become victims either. We appreciate you for watching. That is our show. As you know, I'm your best friend, your next door neighbor, the one, the only, Natasha Cash.
And I'm T-Dub in the building.
And listen, make sure you hit the bell, subscribe, tell a friend, come back next Sunday at 6 p.m. because we are gonna have some more fun. Yeah. Yes, we're excited. So we look forward to talking with you, chopping it up and chatting on Beyond the Chat. And we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.